Hollywood Boulevard in Los Angeles is about the last place in the world I expected to smell manure. But while news helicopters buzzed over the entertainment capital of the world, hummingbirds flitted about Wattles Farm just a few feet off Hollywood Boulevard, but a world away for sure. Wattles Farm is a community garden set into 4.2 acres of a former avocado and fruit orchard at the base of the Hollywood Hills. It was the setting in June for a panel discussion over the future of urban farming, hosted by the U.S. Farmers and Ranchers Alliance. Urban farming may seem like an oxymoron, but its advocates say can be an important source of food, especially for low-income families often underserved by supermarkets and the rest of the traditional food distribution system. To be sure, the typical 10 by 15-foot plots at Wattles won't feed a family, but they did feature a variety of produce, from sweet corn to pomegranates, that showcases the incredible diversity of what grows in California. For $70 a year, the 300 members farm 172 plots. Signs are in both English and Russian, a nod to the importance of that ethnic group in the city. Many are on limited incomes, another irony because the farm was once part of the 57-acre estate of Gurdon Wattles, whose 1907 mansion still overlooks the farm. The entire estate is now owned by the City of Los Angeles Parks Department. In addition to food, Wattles Farm provides green space in a city that lacks it. But can this and other so-called urban farming ventures do more to connect consumers to commercial agriculture? That was one of the questions posed to the panel, which was part of the USFRA's Food Dialogues two-day program in Los Angeles. Unlike many other U.S. cities, L.A. developed in the 20th centuries not along rivers or rail lines, but around an ever-increasing highway system. It's a city that was engineered into existence, says Paula Daniels, senior advisor for food policy to L.A. Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa. Once one of the top agricultural producing counties in the U.S., L.A. has now essentially been paved over. That means growing food there is a challenge that takes small footprint solutions, like community gardens, planting median strips, and hydroponics. Moreover, even backyard gardens are a learning moment, says Daniels.
When you ask people where food comes from, they think it comes from the supermarket, and they're not thinking past that. So I think our challenge in all of this work that we do, having the urban gardens, having a connection to local food production, is to get people to think in a more whole and integrated way, to understand everything about how the food got there and what it took, because it's an incredibly hard job that I certainly have a lot of respect for.
Still, the panel was under no illusions. Paul Wenger, farmer and rancher from Modesto, California, who's president of the California Farm Bureau, says these efforts will be minor in comparison to the contribution of commercial agriculture.
When you talk about organics, you can do it very well, but it takes a lot of manpower, and it takes a lot of help. And people have to spend a lot of time. The people that are farming here put in an inordinate amount of time to have this beautiful produce. And it's a great way to grow. But who's going to grow it? Because it is labor intensive beyond belief.
As you might expect in a place like L.A., the debate between conventional and organic agriculture was never far from the surface of the panel's discussions. Indeed, it could be found in the plots at Wattles, too. While most appeared to follow organic practices, I did notice at least one bottle of glyphosate. Advocates like Daniels from the mayor's office say it's a matter of giving consumers a choice of a variety of healthy foods, from commercial to organic, including locally grown alternatives. But Wenger, who uses 90% organic practices but is not certified, says the small-scale agriculture at Wattles won't feed a growing world.
As we talk here today about some of these things, I think it's great to have folks come back and connect with where their roots are and to connect with agriculture, but we have to remember we have 7 billion people in this world to feed.
Craig McNamara, owner of Sierra Orchards, which produces organic walnuts and olive oil in Winters, California, says the world needs all the farmers it can get.
Today, agriculture needs all of us.
Yeah.
We can't let big and small divide us, because all of us use technologies that are so important. And as you mentioned, 7 billion people, hurling ourselves towards 9 billion people at 220,000 people a day. We need all the agriculture that we can produce, all the food that we can produce, no matter how we produce it. My goal is sustainable production.
Farms on the panels represented a variety of practices, but the heated feelings that sometimes exist on the topic were impossible to sustain at a tranquil setting like Waddles, a true oasis in the concrete jungle.